Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Welcome back to our final episode in the series of using people analytics to help your business soar. In this episode 5, we want Keith Good, Vice President of Client Services at Zeroed In, to pipe in about AI and beyond, and how the heck, Keith, is this going to affect the future of people analytics? Just a big fat topic there. Go.
I love it. I've been waiting for this topic. This is great. We're very excited about this at Zeroed In. I think when you look at AI, first thing you have to do is distill it down to two things. There's AI for prediction analytics and so forth, which we do a lot of, whether it's predicting flight risk or the rising star or the best candidates or very unique models. And by the way, when we come up with a AI predictive model, we work with our clients to understand what are the features and the factors from their historical data and their data that's going to help drive and we think is going to impact that outcome, that prediction. And keep in mind, we also work closely that when we come up with a model and output, we audit that to make sure there's no bias in its output. And that's important because in states like New York, there's actually laws now that says if you're going to do predictive analytics, you got to make sure there's bias audits going on. And we do that. I personally think it's a shame that New York felt they had to do that. I think any good analytics person would be doing that anyway. So but those laws are out there. People need to be aware of it. So you have the AI for predictions and the models out there. But there's also what we call generative AI. And that's the artificial intelligence that can generate new things, whether it's images, whether it's sound, whether it's talking or text-based, which we see obviously in ChatGPT and so forth. So what we're looking at from AI in analytics areas is probably what you see in some of our competitors and others out there, where they're introducing generative AI to help answer questions. So if there's a person asks, well, what's my head count for organization XYZ in this time period, the generative AI goes over top the metadata, the information that describes the system. So it's going to say, oh, you're talking about headcount, you're talking about organization XYZ, and you're talking about period December. So it's looking at those things, and it's basically creating a query and returns that information or points the user to a graph that has that information. And really, all that's really saving is a couple clicks, right? I mean, that data is out there, and it's going to save them from having to hunt for it. It's going to take them right there. And that's great. And we're looking at adding that into our platform as well. However, we're taking that a step further. Instead of introducing generative AI on top of that metadata, the information about the data, we're looking at utilizing the data itself and sending that to a generative AI. For example, you're looking at a trend analysis by department of over the last 6 months that has headcount, turnover, and salary, right? And the graph is huge. You can imagine all the data points on it. And then what we're looking at is taking that information, sending that to generative AI with certain prompts like, what's important about here? What should I know about this? What is, right? And it's looking at the numbers, it's looking at the departments, it's looking at, what's being returned in there and certain prompts. So it's going to say, you should consider yada, yada, yada. And then, maybe you can even have some actions to be taken after that. So that Gen AI is not just looking at the metadata, it's actually looking at the data that is part of the organization. And I think that's what's really exciting.
Oh my God, it is exciting. How secure is all that from the user's end?
Well, that's a good point. First of all, when a user's looking at that graph, what we do is making sure that they only see data that they're entitled and have security to come back. So when we send it to the generative AI tool, it's only looking at the data, again, that they have access to. And then thirdly, the generative AI platform is all within the same platform. So data is not going out. It's not going to a chat GPT or something. It's actually built in. The model's actually built into the platform. So you don't have to worry about data leaving the organization as well.
The integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning in people analytics led to a 42% increase in predictive accuracy for workforce trends and a 35% reduction in time spent on data analysis, significantly enhancing human resources' ability to make data-driven decisions. That's according to Gartner's 2023 HR Technology Report. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge numbers. This AI is scary and amazing. I use AI every single day, the generative. I use ChatGPT mainly, and it's just awesome. So amazing. But for the folks that are listening, I want to remind you that the EEOC does have artificial intelligence and algorithmic fairness initiative. So you might want to check that out. If they've published something, it's not that it's a law, but it's kind of saying, hey, this is what we're going after from people. So you can go to eeoc.gov/AI and get more information directly from the EEOC on that. With that said, Mr. Keith Goode, how can our listeners connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm excited about this topic and always looking forward to carrying on the conversation more. So if someone's interested and they have something on their mind, please reach out to me. I can be reached on LinkedIn at Keith A. Goode, or you can follow up on our website. That's zeroedin.com. Again, always anxious to have carry on the conversation and dig deeper. I'd love to learn what some people are doing out there, what they're experiencing. So feel free to reach out and let's talk about that.
Yes. Well, this information has been amazing to me. I was a little skeptical in the beginning. I'm not going to lie to you, just because it's about a topic that I'm not very familiar with. And that even though I like to analyze everything in my head, it's usually, through my little company, so it's like, how am I going to do this for real? So now we have experts to turn to. Thank you so much. Everybody, we hope this information has been helpful. We're always looking for feedback on the show, or if you want to be an awesome guest like Mr. Keith here, or if you have a guest that you want to recommend, let me know. Wendy@thehrlady.com. Thanks for joining us and take care.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.